Do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
What the is that, dude?
G'day folks, how are you? Hope you're having a bloody good night. There might be a little bit of extra noise in here tonight. I've got a generator running outside, got fans running. It's all sorts of mayhem and madness around here. It's hot, but you'd expect that this time of year. Speaking of hot, how stupidly hot is mis and disinformation that's Barnaby Joyce. Well, get that man a beer. He warned them.
But if I cannot appeal to the logic, let me appeal to your political nous. If you go forward to the government, if you go forward to an election with this, we will absolutely hammer you. And we will get votes. We will get votes. We will peel them off, 100%. Because it's not that the public like us or the public don't like you. They don't like either of us. They have a cynicism against people in government. They have a cynicism against people in government. And this bill that is proposed here says the government knows what you should personally believe. The government will determine what is reasonable for you to believe, and the government will allow you to read certain things and not other things, because they will be the arbiters of the truth.
Hey, we see you. This is Jack Talks. Calling out the greasy Albanese misinformation bill now, mate. Take it to an election. There he is, sneaky, greasy Albanese. He thought censoring Aussies would be easy, using the U.S. election as a distraction, trying to put the misinformation bill into action. He's sneaky, greasy Albanese, trying to pass that bill with ease, while America elects a new commander-in-chief. Albo is trying to steal free speech. Don't worry, us polys are exempt, he said. It's only the plebs that I want censored. The people say things that I don't like, so from now on I'll decide what's wrong or right. He's sneaky, greasy Albanese, trying to pass that bill with ease, while America elects a new commander-in-chief. Albo is trying to steal free speech. Little Albo wants to pass his bill, wants to take Aussies' rights and free will. When the dust of the next election is clear, it's Albo and the ALP that will disappear. Sneaky, greasy Albanese wants to take our voice. What you see, read, watch, think, now the government's choice. But we're watching, and we're aware, made after the next election, you won't be there. He's sneaky, greasy Albanese, trying to pass that bill with ease, while America elects a new commander-in-chief. Albo is trying to steal free speech. There you are, a career politician, thinking you get to say what's fact or fiction, saying your government knows best for us. Sneaky, greasy Albanese, kiss my arse. If you're like me, you probably know what's best for you. Jack Talks, say you see on the bully, but I'm not more Aussies, it's not as dumb as you think and hope.
If you know how to go to follow at Jags there, go and do it, because that's bloody awesome. Sneaky, greasy Albanese. And how friggin' true is that? These rotten bastards think they've got away with it, but they may not have. You'd think this being such a big issue, it would be a big thing in government, but it's not. Do you want to know how easy it is to have your free speech stolen? This is just how fast it takes.
Order. The result of the division is ayes 79, noes 56. The matter was resolved in the affirmative. This bill, as amended, has been agreed to. I give the call to the Minister for Communications.
Mr Speaker, I ask leave of the House to move the third reading immediately.
Is leave granted.
Leave's granted.
Give a call to the Minister.
Speaker, I move that this bill be now read a third time.
I'll put the question. Those opinions say aye. Against no. I think the ayes have it. And I call the clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act to amend the law relating to communications and for related purposes.
Two things. Did you hear a no there? Those four, aye, against, crickets. What's that? What's that? Second thing is the third reading. The guy gets up to read it and nobody's listening. They're all having their own private, personal little conversations. That whole interaction, and should it get through the Senate, that law took 43 seconds to steal our free speech. The Albanese Labor criminal government has declared war on every Australian. Everything that we've stood for, everything we've grown up understanding and working our lives to be has been effectively thumbprinted, stepped on, crushed. You will now do exactly what the government tells you to do. It's that simple. The government will decide what the truth is. The government will decide. This law cannot be allowed to get through, and it only got through this far, with the support of a bunch of horrible, horrible human beings that, we'll get the Wizard of Wave in, shall we? Who's going to elaborate a little more. Oh, with the slow motion wave tonight. Right. Well, you are only just awake.
No, it's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with the bullshit there. I'm moving. I'm going to America. It's the only last place of free speech left.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on to that very shortly. But right now, they've used the American election, Donald Trump in a landslide, a clean sweep, and we'll explain exactly what that means a little later on. But I'll bring this up. Do you want to explain what we're looking at here?
Right. See the 6 independents that are supposed to be there for us at the bottom? Those lazy little green bloody... Sorry, I'm wild. Teal people. It's Labor-like. Yeah, Labor-like. They all go in there on that. You know, we voted those little sycophants in. Well, I didn't because I didn't vote for them, but you know,
no, I think most of them come from the northern beaches in Sydney, don't they, or affluent suburbs of Sydney?
Yeah. Money talks in politics. These guys got into money backed by, you know, when in this country have we gone and pulled in people that win like this out on the whim of a hat that have never been heard of before? Yet you've got some decent parties out there who are at least fighting for Australia who can't even get votes. For 100%. F's sakes, mate, for F's sakes, this is just bullshit.
Yeah. Unconscionable crap is about the best way to describe that in my book. And we need to find out, like you say, just how these people got voted in. Was it money? Was there something else? Did somebody forget how to count correctly? We've had so many issues with voting in this country, and it's been proven to have happened in others, and hopefully with Donald Trump's now re-election as 47th president of the US, he will be able to go back and have a much closer look at what happened in 2020, and that will come along with his examination of the DOJ being weaponized by the Biden and Harris administration. So what are your thoughts, Vince? Were you expecting this sort of a win for Trump?
I reckon we should leave the good news to last, mate, and leave on a high note. I want to continue on this bullshit that we've got here, to be honest.
Well, what we have here is, you know, it's had its third reading. It's going back to the Senate. So the only thing that we can do now is pressure our senators to make sure that it doesn't gain approval in the Senate. Now, I know that Malcolm Roberts is dead set against it. Rennick will be against it. and Pauline Hanson will be against it. How many others against it, I'm not completely sure. Matt Canavan, I'm sure, will be against it. But we need all of the independents in the Senate to come across as well, the likes of Jackie Lambie. I'm not sure whether a bottle of wine would help sway her vote, to help the people or not. It probably wouldn't be the only one in there that a bottle of wine or something else would help to sway opinion, but that's just a sign of just how corrupt that place is and why we can have absolutely no faith that these people sitting in the Senate, supposedly representing the people of this country, are going to do the right thing by them.
Yeah. I mean, which one of trying to think. One of them was sitting there actually saying that they're going to vote against it, but it doesn't go far enough. Pardon? What the? How can you say that?
Sarah Hanson Young. Sarah Hanson Young.
Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Just up for bats. I apologise from all of South Australia for that.
So, I see, yep.
But honestly, I mean, government, you want to start an underground black level internet here in Australia, you're heading in the right bloody direction.
Oh,
I'm sure there's a lot of smart IT people out there who at the moment have been pretty quiet, and I've been speaking to a few, and if necessary, we'll find a way. You can count on it.
Oh, yeah, we are coming. And the Trump win has only emboldened those of us on our side. And it's done that. It's really helped the numbers here in Australia just this week, because finally it's very hard to argue with Trump winning the popular vote, winning the Electoral College, winning every governor's seat, and winning every state legislative seat. He's run a clean sweep, winning the House, winning the Senate. It's going to mean a mandate, and there is a word I'd like to go and elaborate a little bit more on, because we've heard it used against us so much in the last 4 years, erroneously. But now, anybody who dares to say that the majority of Americans are not supporting Trump are lunatics. Because if the majority of Americans wanted to get off their ass and vote, I think of 340 million people, a little over 100 million voted, then they could have made the difference. But clearly, Kamala couldn't do anything to excite them. Trump himself only was able to excite a few more, not that 200 million more, which would have been useful. And of course, some of them are, obviously not going to be able to vote. I don't think you can vote after you've been to prison on a felony charge, unless, of course, you're planning on voting Democrat. Then you can vote, and you can vote while you're in prison. I think they bring the allegedly, I should say. But Trump's made some big statements too about finishing wars and all that sort of thing. So that's going to, obviously prove to be a little. I see you've got a slide up you want to show. What's this about?
Yep. All right. So this is the actual call out from the US presidential elections from 2012, 2016, 2024, and 2020. Now, have a look. The blue, obviously, is the blue votes for those wonderful Democrats, and the red's the Republicans. So we can see the total number of people who came out. Now, these numbers are checked, so it is factual. It's not incorrect, but one does have to ask the question. We know that Trump had a massive rollout in 2020, and we know that Biden won by this massive amount of people in the blues. But where did they come from? All right, where did that 81 million people come from? Look at the disparity. The numbers don't lie. The averages don't lie. The statistics don't lie. But here we have this massive wall of blue.
That's wild, isn't it?
Doesn't that say something?
Well,
I mean, there was a
Certainly
lot
worth
of forces.
investigating.
There were a lot of forces that played in this election, including a certain little squirrel that we all heard about. Right?
Yep.
If you didn't hear about that, the federal government spent millions of dollars to come in, raid a person's house, take his pet squirrel of 8 years and the raccoon, and then proceeded to get rid of him. Well, just to throw it, because you don't know that this is coming, if I can find it again, hang on, might be the wrong way. Squirrel had its revenge on Kamala Harris.
That's spectacular.
All right. It decided it was going to put a little walkthrough on its way through just before she came out to give her concession speech. So the squirrels stand united in America.
And you know what? People are going to say, oh, yeah, squirrels walk past, jump on daises like that all the time, every day. You don't think there's a bit of symbolism in there? I haven't got the video, but I thought one of the greatest bit of symbolism on the day of voting was when Jill Biden and Joe Biden went and voted. Jill was wearing red.
Yeah,
red.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So, yeah. A little bit of breaking news for people in Queensland who might get a little bit excited. Watch this.
The level of vaccination in Queensland is very high. The anti-vax group is taking up a disproportionate amount of oxygen.
He's gone. He's gone. He's just out of the blue has quit. Now, how many weird out of the blue people have quit? Ray Hadley, the biggest ego in commercial radio, who says he had a change of, and look, it's quite possible. We all have them. Had a change of heart and a change of tack 10 years ago. He's been in the game 40 years. So he spent 30 years abusing the people that he worked with in ways you wouldn't believe, people. But yesterday he was lauded because he's resigned and what a marvellous man he is. No, just simply fabulous. The New South Wales State Premier rang in to say wonderful things about him. So a bit weird because he's riding high on the top of the ratings. Says he wants to go and retire. He's 60-something years old. Who cares? He's made millions and millions and millions of dollars. I don't think they'll be offering me his job, just between you, me, and the gatepost. Just happens to be he works for Channel 9 Entertainment, or 9, and that's where a lot of these abuse allegations have come from recently. Admittedly, more out of 9 TV than anything else. But there is a culture there that is insidious, and it has been in the business for many, many years. And it's not something that is just limited to 9. It's been in every big radio and TV business in this country, as far as I'm aware, for as long as I've been in it. So, and that, bit like Ray, is 40 years. So, but good news for people in Queensland that fella has quit his job. I'm very happy about it. The people in New South Wales will have seen their police commissioner, I think he is, coming out and saying, desperate plea for more staff because we haven't got enough. That's not the commissioner. He'll be an assistant commissioner. But the problem being, nobody wants to be a policeman anymore. Although we do get some shining examples coming into the country.
Fuck you. Good lad. Yeah, go for it. Fuck me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him.
I do love that one. I really do. That's brilliant.
He's pretty cool. So the world's coming to an end. Donald Trump has been elected the 47th president, and everybody is in shock and horror. We have had a government that has effectively declared war on free speech and the people of Australia by ramming through this unconscionable mis- and disinformation bill, and we're at a point where now you must be encouraged to contact every senator and tell them...
outright, yeah. 100% outright. Do not pass this friggin' vote. So while Carl's still waiting to unfreeze, if we don't go in there and we don't make our voices heard to these senators, we need to be on them, emailing them, ringing them.
Oh, yep, I'm back. I don't know if you're back. Yeah, back, right.
Oh, I was always there, mate. I just took over. Like I always take over.
Good man. So we've got to trigger that mechanism inside these weak independents who are likely to be swayed by a bribe from their criminal cohorts in the Senate and, broader afield, the parties, than looking after the people. We need to find some way to trigger that emotion and bring it forward. So on to the Donald Trump election. Well, apparently we keep hearing dates. What dates have you heard that we should be watching out for this week, Vince, or have you just been ducking dates completely like many other people?
No, well, I did hear, because we still have the one criminal event. And for anybody, somebody asked last time that I was on that, I said Jack, not a real boy, to do with Jack Smith, because he's gone, right?
Yep.
He was never, the reason why I say Jack's not a real boy is because he was never actually confirmed as a special prosecutor, right? To be a special prosecutor with that power, you have to be affirmed by the Senate and the Sleepy Joe, basically.
Yeah.
So, but they're now scrambling like crap, but we still got the one on the, I think it's the 26th or the 28th of November.
I believe the DOJ has dropped all charges.
Yeah, no, this is the ones to do with the 38 times that he got convicted for writing a check that somebody else did, right? So that's still in play, and that sentencing is still to come through. Because he hasn't been sentenced, he is not actually a criminal, right? Because he hasn't been sentenced. The question is, are they going to have the guts to try and lock up the sitting elect?
The president-elect,
right, on pretty much fake charges, right? The court case was a sham. My guess is that the current judge is going to he's going to find some little inconsistency and run like hell.
One would hope so.
He's going to get out of it. But
also
so
sitting in the shadows is the Brunson decision, which, if we're led to believe anything is true, should be coming down practically any day. However, The Simpsons have had a little bit of foretelling. Oh, what's that say? I can't read it.
That says, I am Batman, because we're coming for you, because Batman comes from the underground.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I like that. All right, The Simpsons are predicting, now we've lived November 8, but, well, have a watch of this.
I'll take that as a yes.
Shrimp on the Barbie, shrimp in the air. Shrimp on the Barbie, shrimp in the air. Shrimp on the... Huh? I got it. Uh-oh.
Well, this is one of those times, mate. I hope that their predictions don't come through, although they've been terribly accurate.
Well, I would only say one thing, that there are two places on the list of 77 targets for the Rods of God. One of them is the Sydney Opera House. Just saying. So,
yeah, wow.
Weird, curious.
Yep.
And as you say, they have had so many opportunities. So that's happened before. Donald Trump, when he gets in, will have an opportunity in his first days to enact a number of executive orders. He's already put them out as to what he plans to do. From January 20th, abolish all vaccine mandates, repeal the 1986 tax immunity law, ban fluoridation everywhere, reorganize the FDA, the FTC, and the CDC. And the person he has put in charge to do that is RFK Jr. Ban toxic ingredients in food, recognize vaccine injury and death. That's going to be expensive. Ban GMO food and toxic pesticides, allow natural remedies to flourish, and recognize vaccines cause autism. And that's just the day he gets in.
Well, to be fair, that's not his list.
Well, it's not a bad list.
That's what one of the Maha group would like to have on his list. I would say that there's a fair amount of those that will be put in, right? But
I would have thought.
not all of them.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. But I've got a sneaking suspicion the first EOs that he signs will be to do with the judiciary and the weaponization of it. He will be able to enact and invest what happened in 2020. And, a graph like yours does go quite a long way to helping support that. Some weird shit going on at the moment in Russia. Well, there's nothing weird going on in Russia. They're marching forward and taking as much of Ukraine at the moment as they really want. The thing is, Zelensky hasn't quite recognized it, although he has bought another villa somewhere around Lake Como. So I'd be very careful about going for a swim if I was him. Very careful. But there is no more money now coming from America, and more particularly no more weapons. Why are there no more weapons? Well, the US have run out, supposedly, of their stockpile. They've been sending older weapons. But now that China is making much stronger moves in certain parts of the world and being a bit louder, they've decided that they may need a few of those weapons. And, of course, with what's going on with Israel and Iran, America might well be involved there. That, for me, is the stumbling block with Trump, because he seems to be fully supportive of Benjamin Netanyahu, who I watched a speech in the UN the other day. I'm not sure if it was live or been in the last few days anyway, where he basically told them, you can all go and jam your membership up your clacker. We're going to do whatever the hell it is we want to do. We have a right to do it. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. We're going to go on killing people. Bullshit more. Pretty disturbing stuff to watch.
There's also been a call in the UN about trying to be stepping up and being more UN and not controlled so much by the US now that Trump has taken seat as well. So let's face it, Trump's after one thing. Even if he does support Israel, he is after peace. Right?
Yes.
How he comes about that is another issue, and what is required to do that still needs to be determined. But it is peace that he's looking for, peace in both of those wars, right? Between Russia, Ukraine, and between Israel and Hamas. So I'm not really au fait on that war. I basically stayed away from most of the news of that because I was concentrating more on what we have happening in America and what we have happening here in Australia. So I can't comment that much.
So while you were off concentrating, you would have been watching a lot of legacy media, as really we all were. There wasn't too many other choices at the time if you wanted to have a good laugh. But this is really exactly what happened with lamestream media right up to Election Day.
Yep.
How can the unawakened possibly forget? This is now, well, it's 3 elections where the pundits have got it horrendously wrong. Now, how hard is it for the unawakened to see that they've been lied to? These, polls and projections are done with very, very small focus groups, and you only get the answer that you want to the question you ask. And of course, it's going to go in your favour. But the groups are terminally small. They might ask 300 to 500 people a question and say that's representative of everything that's happening in America. The thing about it is nobody in the families of the politicians, nobody in the families of anybody in our sort of side of the media has ever been called and asked a question. And that's pretty much the same as what happens here in Australia.
Yep.
So, therefore, the media has gone from, the mainstream media has shown itself from going to be subjective and being able to review things dispassionately and without bias. They have become an active part of the process trying to steer people to vote, even as late as on the day of polling, where they say, oh, the exit polls are showing Kamala Harris is rolling through here, she's going to win this seat, oh yeah, it's going to be huge. That is done to discourage potential voters who are saying, look, if he looks like he needs help, I'll go down later tonight and do it or whatever. Well, they're trying to discourage those people from turning on the radio or the TV again for the rest of the day. by saying, "No, Kamala's going to win here," and no, projected here. Oh, the exit polls are great. Yada 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 yada. Well, up until Donald Trump came in, that may kind of had some element of truth to it. But back in 2016, anything to do with truth came out of polling, and they became agitators for the left in trying to stem the flow of support for Trump. And they were gaslighting everybody. Everybody. It is now 100% open and plain to see. How do we better use that to wake up people, Vince, to come to our side?
I honestly don't know if there's even a capability, because these people don't have probably the access to the resources we do, because and Elon Musk said it, right? Now, the podcasters, the truth seeker channels, those sort of things, we are now the media, the real media, the truth media. Now, why are we the truth media? Because you get both sides. You get some truth and you get some bullshit, but it is both sides. So whether we can get, if I was Trump, I'd be pulling all their bloody licenses. That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, because you certainly can't expect the authority that oversees the broadcasters to actually act with any kind of credibility or honor, because clearly they've been bribed as well, just like ours. Ours, I don't know about bribe, but ours are so out of touch. I was watching a Senate estimates meeting the other day where they were talking to someone from ACMA about the Kyle and Jackie O show and how many complaints that they'd had about that show, and a lot of the content in that show, which is quite sexualized. And I mean quite sexualized. It's an R-rated show at times. And this is a breakfast program that goes out in Sydney from 6 till 10 a.m. and in Melbourne from 6 till 10 a.m. now. Of course, a huge deal done with Kyle and Jackie O, a $200 million 10-year deal to keep them with the ARN network that they are with. The plan is to network that show out of Sydney into Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane. And they're going to do what they can to make it work in Melbourne, obviously, because they can't go to the other places unless it works there. Melbourne has rejected them resoundingly. And why? Well, because of the filth that they've broadcast. Now, Kyle likes to be on the cutting edge. Kyle, spends a lot of time in America listening to some pretty out there American DJs, and he brings a lot of those content ideas back here. What he's failed to recognize is the American audience is much broader, much bigger in just about every sense, particularly in Los Angeles, where he spends a lot of his time. And he's come to Australia expecting to be able to excite the audience the same way, and Australians aren't titillated as much by that. The young people are, but clearly the more intelligent ones that happen to live down south in Melbourne, always the better city, by the way, and the rivalry. Well, I'm a Victorian. I've got to support Melbourne. Well, and I'd go so far as to suggest there's a few more awakened people in Melbourne now too. So, yeah. But I find it interesting that we've got a woman in charge of ACMA who couldn't answer the question about Kyle and Jackie O about certain content, which was extremely graphic. I'm not going to go into it, but it was extremely graphic. And she was asked, why hasn't this been investigated? Oh, well, there's been complaints. Yeah, but why haven't you proactively gone and investigated? Oh, well...
well, they don't fully have the power yet, because that's...
Oh, they do?
Yeah, well, do they? Because isn't
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't an independent board of broadcasting that takes that stuff into account, not ACMA directly? I mean, ACMA is the same guys who are going to disinformation us, and they can't even answer this question, just as a point of interest. But it's a different... I thought it was an independent board that actually looked after that. Broadcasting something or other board.
Not independent. Well, there's nothing independent about it. It's government appointed.
Yeah, but it's not directly the ACMA.
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay. So I'll stand corrected. But that's the same Senate estimates that were busily talking about the whole claim that was made against the ABC for defamation for a particular soldier, and they put extra shots in, and it cost millions of dollars, and the ABC will not even apologise to the gentleman, which is what he asked for.
Yep.
Just an apology. All right?
Yep.
That shows the arrogance.
I've got a good one for you. In Senate estimates today, the Home Affairs bureaucrats were lined up, and one of them, the cyber security expert, who seems to be quite a switched-on guy, Hampstead, I think his name was, he was answering fully and frankly, I thought, at all times, as opposed to the head of the Home Affairs thing, some woman sitting beside him named Forrest, who I've watched her sneer and smear and carry on back at the senators now in estimates for some time. And today was absolutely no different. However, one of the senators started asking some very interesting questions about Tony Burke, the minister in, I think he's in charge of immigration and defence and God knows whatever else. May not be defence, but he's a very senior minister in this Labor government. The senator laid out and got very detailed answers from the cyber security guy from Home Affairs about just how dangerous electric vehicles are when they're connected to the internet and what sort of security risks they pose. Could they be taken over? Can somebody change the programming and have it turn left instead of right when you turn left or right? Could the speed things be altered? Could this, could that, could the other happen? And yes, look, there is a lot of things that can happen, particularly if you connect your phone to it and all that. And he agreed that the major electric car manufacturers in the world were China. He also agreed that the Chinese government themselves have banned the use of any electric vehicle on any classified or military base in China because of the security risk that they pose. Then he asked, did anybody happen to know what the minister drove, what his personal car was? And it turns out the minister happens to own a Chinese-built electric car that you can bet is fully whiz-banged up the wazoo. Does the Australian government have a plan or any idea to limit their ministers, particularly senior ministers in security roles, from using their private vehicles? Let's say, for instance, something happens and the minister needs to get a top secret or secure briefing. Now, he will not get that briefing in his house. He will have to drive to somewhere in his electorate, maybe his electorate office, or there might be a security office somewhere in a city he can go to where it will be a controlled environment and he will get a top secret briefing, yada, 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 yada. That usually happens on a military base. And in Melbourne, for instance, there's any number of military bases they could choose, but depending on where the minister was, Victoria Barracks immediately springs to mind. Same in Sydney, Holsworthy would be the place that they would probably go. Unless they were in the north, then they'd probably go to Richmond. So there are ways and means of getting them to secure places. However, the minister has to drive themselves to those locations so that they can get those briefings. What happens? Well, they get out of bed in the middle of the night and they stumble into the family BYD or whatever it happens to be, and they drive themselves over to a secure and classified military installation and park right at the front door, because he'll get the number one car park and walk inside, probably with his mobile phone. When he comes out after his secure briefing, that mobile phone may well have recorded just about everything that happened inside there. And the second he plugs it into the car, zip zap, Yahoo, and some bloke in Guangzhou gets a little ping on a computer that says, look what I've downloaded. Is that basically how it could work, Vince?
Yep, pretty much. Right.
Australian government thinks that's okay.
Well, the only thing that he could do is not take that phone inside the building, put it at the door as you walks into the private briefing. That's about it. All right.
Yeah.
But,
I would think that he would be have the phone taken off him before he got inside the compartmentalized office or room. But on the way out, these people are not genuinely security conscious, and he's quite likely, based on the information he's received in this top secret briefing, he's going to pick up his phone on the way out, driving home back to bed, and start getting action on certain things. He's going to be waking people up. He's going to be saying, we need to do this. We've got to have this done. And they're going to be saying, why? Oh, well, I've just got a briefing that says this is happening.
Yep.
So you got to understand, these politicians are not smart people.
Well, we voted them in, so obviously we're not smart either.
Well, lazy, I think, is the best way to describe Australians when it comes to voting. Lazy. Although more and more of us are waking up to the fact that you've got to get up and do something, I suppose. But whether or not we've got the right mix and the right thing to do just yet, I am completely not sure of. David Rogers. David. Hang on. Oh, that's Crunch. G'day, Crunch. David, you emailed me a couple of times over the last days. Yeah, mate. Okay, I'll go and have a look. I'm sorry. I downloaded my email for the first time 15 minutes before the show started. The first time in 2 days. A lot's been happening here, away from what's been happening everywhere else. And I've been doing my best to help out here with what I can. I am reasonably limited given the busted wing. However, I want to say that there has been a big change in my life. Comfrey oil has arrived, and I have put a bit on my arm today. I'm not quite sure. It comes in a very cool eyedropper, or with a very cool eyedropper. It took me about half an hour to figure out how to make work. And I've only put a few drops on and rubbed it in, and I will continue to do so because this Exos thing comes off. I can undo it here with a little knob, and it all works very well. I would also like to thank the people who don't want me to mention them just yet for sending me what is supposedly meant to be my save all when it comes to the fractures that I have in my wrist. This is called Comfrey and Cayenne salve. It's a rub, okay? And you put a bit on, you rub it in, and it's got cayenne obviously in it, the Comfrey oil in it, and it's very, well, I'm not exactly sure of the consistency because here is the ironic part. They send it to you in a little tin like this.
You can't open it.
Screws off.
Right, that is so funny. Sorry, I couldn't stop it.
And the tin's too big to get in my mouth to try and get it open. And I thought, that's all right. I can fix that. I'll go and get a pair of multi-grips. But I can't hold a feather with those fingers at the moment. I mean, I can hold it as long as it's balanced all right, but I can't grip it. So I've got to wait for Dwayne, the Wildlife Whisperer, to come back, and before he helps me feed Josie a little later on, because that too is a bit of a problem with this. I'll get him to rip the top off that for me so I can actually get into it and give it a go. But yeah, oh, the irony, hey? Oh, the irony. My salvation is here in the form of the absolutely, and all I can smell is the tin, but I can't wait to get a whiff of this Comfrey and Cayenne salve. And thank you for the care package that came with all of that to the folks who sent it. I can't thank you enough, Hala. Also, Sandy and Baz from the Donkey Sanctuary in New South Wales. Now, clearly she gets a lot of support when it comes to medical stuff and all that sort of thing, and she's very happy to share. Boy, has she shared. I shit you not, I can fix and wrap and look after anything from a traumatic road injured animal through to a gunshot wound right about now. I'm not sure. Monday's mail may have a heart monitor system. That's literally the kind of... I'm getting boxes and boxes and boxes of wonderful stuff, and we are going to be using it. Always good to have a good supply of medical stuff online, but don't need too much of it for Josie. Today, a little bit of an update on her. Did you like the picture, Vince?
Yeah, beautiful picture. She's actually starting to grow a bit of hair.
She is starting to grow a bit of hair, which is pretty cool. Let me just see if I can find this.
While he's busily finding that, just a reminder that silver's still out there and still making its way. It's dropped a little bit in prices, but go to Ainsley Bullion if you get half the chance. Don't forget to mention Voice of Freedom or Carl when you're placing your order. I like the fact that my silver's basically, what did I work it out, had grown in price for about a third. So 33% uptake, which is pretty good.
It is going up. It is going down. I think it's around 47.5 or something at the moment, or earlier today.
47.39 right now.
Yeah, there you go. And gold had lost about $150, I think. So from when I'd seen it last, I haven't.
However, Bitcoin went up.
Bitcoin did to a new record, over 74,000 US. So
currently at $75,891.
That's making a lot of people very happy. And hello to Gabby, who I know will be rubbing her hands together with all of that. Back on to Josie very quickly. Thank you to everybody who has sent me messages, sent me emails, and advice where required. She has got a sore elbow. It's swollen but going down. The redness has gone from it, so we're really happy about that. She is toileting brilliantly. I've changed her food now. She was initially on something called Divetalac, which is an all-round sort of thing. You can give it to marsupials and birds and possums and all sorts of stuff. But it's better if you get some Wombaroo, and that's what she's been hooking into now. We've changed her food, and I was expecting her to get a little crook tummy out of it, but that hasn't been the case. She has been drastically at times dehydrated. We've been trying to estimate how many days she was without mum before she sort of got saved. I'm pretty sure she was without mum for 2 days before she came to us. She was very dehydrated then. And she spent another 24, not quite 24 hours, probably another 16 hours before she was seen by one of the guys who had the needles and the saline and everything to fix her up. From that time, we've been giving her saline injections twice a day, and they've been 60 to 80 mil at a time. We upped that this morning. She got 150 mil, and this goes in subcutaneously, just under her skin, so it floods her system. We were meant to give her, or we're going to give her another 150 after that. It takes a little while. It's a very big syringe, and you push very slowly. But her coat started to get a bit wet, so we thought we'd filled her up. And it turns out this afternoon, although very oppressively hot here with humidity and whatnot, she wasn't terribly active. But we did hit a little bit of a milestone yesterday, the night before, maybe, potentially. This is Josie's first bath. So,
my first bath. Hello, baby. Auntie Elizabeth is looking after you. You're okay. Got to clean your tummy. Clean your bum.
That's important.
Look at you, you little star.
Yeah, I should have muted the video. Oh, I can do that. If I can find the mute
My
button.
first bath.
Oh, that's the wrong video. But anyway, that's Josie's first bath. And that's about how long it lasted, as you're about to see. She gets wrapped up by Auntie Elizabeth and back out to the feed. We'll save you the poo. But, typical baby gets in a warm bath, has a poo.
You're starting to feel like a dad again, are you?
It's, mate, I tell you, it's like
what are we
that.
going to call you, Papa Smurf from now on? Or right,
well, it's probably better than some of the names I've had. But, yeah, she's very cute. She is still unwell. This infection in her elbow, I can't look at it and not wince. But she's using her hand again. She didn't use it for one day, but she's using it again and moving it. I'm not getting her out and letting her walk around too much. It's she's still very small, so those bones and whatnot and muscles have still got to form up. She is eating really, really well. She's swallowing her. She's a slow feeder, but she takes it all. So she's getting, from sort of 5:30 in the morning when her first feed is through till midnight when her last one is, or 11:30 thereabouts, and then she'll sleep all the way through 5 or 6 hours, get up, have a wee, and be very happy to do it all over again. I've figured out now just how to keep her temperature a bit more regulated. So that's going to be great for her and for me too, if I'm honest. So the big thing with them is keeping them very, very, very clean. So when she has a poo, you try and make sure she has a poo and a wee outside in the bag. But occasionally, like all babies, they might let one go. She sleeps on top of a puppy pad, but she's also in a pouch. So that means if she's lying upside down, and I've got a few videos I haven't uploaded, but there are somebody said Carl's getting clucky. You want to see them getting into the pouch. You know how they get into a pouch? They somersault into a pouch. So she does the same thing, just into the little pouches that we have. And then she lines up for a feed and all that. But if she's in there and gets poo or wee on it, it can burn her rather drastically because she's got very little hair. Certainly on the underside of her, she's got absolutely none. She's starting to get a bit on the top. It looks like she's going to be a black stripe wallaby. She's starting to get a fairly reasonable black sort of defined line down her back. So, 7.5, 8 months old is what she is. She's strong on her feet, but we're not letting her hop around. I'm thinking about ways I can build a little enclosure for her so she can go out, have a bit of a wander around, eat some of the grass. And she's now starting to look at grass as well, not just look at it and say, "Oh, what's that?" But she's looking at it to eat. And I've got a couple of interesting medicines. I've got an interesting medicine called Willowwood for her. Now, this is more of a pain medication, and they will eat it if they're in pain. She won't take it at the moment, and so that leads me to believe that while the elbow looks like it's a bit sore, she isn't in any pain. So very encouraging, and that's the word from the other people we've had her with and seen. So that's the update on little Josie. We'll see how things go.
So a bit more on the update of that. Are you going to look at putting some of these extra videos up on the Freedom Broadcasting Network?
Yes, I think that'll be the place to do it.
FBN online channel on YouTube.
Yep. That's pretty much the idea. This week I was going to do just that, but Trump winning the election, I thought I needed a new show opener, and I had it all set up to have it ready for tonight. And this bloody computer got very hot, shut down, and for whatever reason, the editing system I was using auto-save it, and when I opened it all back up again, there was just an empty file. So a bit heartbreaking, but I'll rebuild it over the weekend and have a new opener for you Monday night, which will be hopefully something you'll enjoy.
Well, here's another question while we just sort of got back into Trump winning the election. He's president-elect at the moment, but what if they take him out between now and the day that he's sworn in? I have my thoughts on that.
J.D. Vance would become president.
Yeah, so J.D. Vance, I think, is a very, very, very smart cookie, right? He was able to take on all of their deadhead media over there and basically crucify them with words, right? He also knows Trump's plan and what's going on. And I think he would be more dangerous to them than Trump, personally, because he's more rational in the way he speaks to people.
Yeah.
Right. And following the same plan as Trump, without Trump's little side vents for them to go off and have something extra to say about it and let the legacy meter pick on a word that he shouldn't have said or whatever.
Yeah.
Vance doesn't fall into that hole. He doesn't give them the ammunition. But
No, true
either
that.
way, all right, I think that let's just say that side, the other side, they lost. And the people of America, and that's the hope that I love. The people of America were smart enough to stand up and say, F you and your bullshit woke policies.
Yep. And that's got to be encouraging that, you know, and there's enough woke people, or awake people, not woke people, I beg your pardon, that it is the majority in America now. And hopefully, come election time, we'll see that here in Australia as well. We need to throw out this Labor government. We need to punish them in ways that we haven't really come up with yet.
But the Liberal government's not going to be a great substitute either, although they have said, mind you, although I've got to admit, I actually heard a politician speak truth for once, and that was in the clip you played earlier with Barnaby Joyce. Right? They don't like us, but they don't like you either.
Yeah.
Right? When I first watched that clip, I just went, man, I've got to cut that, but you already beat me to it. Effectively, though, we need people who are not long-time politicians in there, because we need people who consider this country, be proud of this country and just this country. All right. Once we fix our own backyard, then we can start talking about helping others. But until we do, we're screwed. All right.
Yeah.
So it's time that groups like us, me and Michael from Cafe Lockout, Truth Seekers, all those other free broadcasting journalists, it's time we formed our own little loose network so that we can start being the media that Australia needs. All right, so I'm putting the call out. If you've got an ego, get it out of your head and just move forward with saving the country.
It's all we're about.
Truth Seekers is there, right? We're there. Anybody else who wants to join us, send us an email, right? Send it to Vince because Carl's really busy being a dad. So send it to me, right? Vince at VOFHQ. If you want to get in there and you want to start developing a media that is for the people, that's going to tell the truth, that's going to fight this misinformation bullshit bill that they're putting in, right? You need to do it now. You need to start moving forward, because otherwise we're going to be underground. That's the only way you're going to get true information in this country. And I'm going to get off that subject before I blow my stack.
Crunch reckons that Maria Z's got a big ego. I don't know, mate. Whenever I speak to Maria, she is wonderful. So I've never had
she's
a
also
problem
in
with her.
America.
Yeah, she's also in America. We don't speak often, and her goal has always been to be that sort of American kind of reporter, and that kind of style. Not my style, and good luck to her. She's doing a great job with it. But I don't know about ego. We've never met face to face, but I can tell you that on the phone, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And on Christmas Day, she sent me a Merry Christmas message. So, and a personalized one, not like a block one that you send out to everybody. So that impressed me. I was blown away by that, as a matter of fact. So,
and I think actually we need her over there.
I
think
agree.
She's our gateway into that information. So she's already doing her job, right? And she has no problems
really
about.
well. She's
giving us-
figured out how to get that corporate support that we're looking for, Vince. She
Yeah,
sells
pretty
t-shirts.
much.
She has things she can sell.
Yeah, that's right. Is that a shot? I better hurry up and find out about these t-shirts.
You take it
Yeah,
for what you
just a
will,
subtle slap around the head there, Vince. Yeah, right. Come on, get these t-shirts. For a bit.
So, folks, I've posted up the FBN Media site. So, if you want to search YouTube, you've got to search for fbnmedia.online, because we've had people who've started other FBN channels trying to look a bit confusing. But you look for the logo like you're seeing in the top right-hand corner of your screen, and that's it. Please subscribe. We don't have a huge amount of subscribers, and we will go live on that channel as soon as we can. But we need 1,000 subscribers on it before we can go live. So if you haven't already subscribed to it, then like and subscribe. The the FBNmedia.online channel. And, well, we'll see who else pops up there in the not too distant future. In fact, I'm speaking with a friend of mine at the moment, and I'll put this out to you now, folks. It might be you, it might be someone in your family, but it's important that their knowledge and their experience and maybe some of the funny stories of their life don't die with them when they depart. Now, I've been lucky enough over the years to be involved at various different times with returned servicemen, and particularly World War II veterans and Korean War veterans. I've had I've had a little bit of work to do with Vietnam veterans. My biological father was a Vietnam veteran, and I've been very fortunate to have a lot of interactions with that group. And moving forward, veterans who've served in places like East Timor, in Africa, in Iraq and Iran, and Iraq and Afghanistan. Your stories are important. I was once fortunate to talk to a man for an hour who was responsible for the first radar installation that was ever put up in Papua New Guinea. It was hauled up the side of a hill with bullocks and only had a battery that would let it run for 3 hours a day if they turned it on and left it on. So they would come on and radiate and do a sweep once an hour. And this whole thing was run off a mountaintop somewhere off the backside of New Guinea during World War II. Tremendous story. And he had quite a few of them. Another bloke, same story, same place. He said he fought in New Guinea. I said, "Oh, were you on the Kokoda track?" And he started laughing. He said, no, it was my duty to guard the fruit. I said, "What do you mean guard the fruit?" He said, whenever the Americans came past, they'd come on shore and they would steal every piece of fruit they could find, whether it was on the tree or in a bag stuffed away somewhere. So I was in charge of making sure they didn't steal our fruit. That was his whole job for the war, because scurvy was a thing. Obviously, the sailors needed fresh food, and they'd been at sea for a long time. But yeah, his job was to look after the fruit. So we're going to offer a service that a friend of mine, who is one of Australia's best audio producers, he and I will come together to try and start telling some of these stories. And if you have a story that you want to tell, it doesn't have to be a war story. It doesn't have to be a returned veteran story. It doesn't have to be, it can be a vaccine story. It can be a life story. It can be something that you want your family to know, maybe not now, but, after you're gone. We can keep that secure for you and arrange that it gets to your family at the time of your choosing. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, reach out to me, carl@vofhq.com, and you will be hearing from my mate Dennis, who will have a bit of a chat and see if we can't help you in some way, shape or form. Sorry to spring that one on you, Vince, but...
Well,
yeah.
We actually need to make sure that we start putting a proper footer into all of our videos with all of the links that we actually have, with the startup now of X being in there. So
yes, I'm on
we
X.
will design that.
So X, I thought I was going to live stream on X tonight, but it turns out I haven't paid enough money.
Oh, okay.
I've paid enough money to get the appropriate blue spot or dot or whatever the hell that you get, so that they know it's me. But I have not paid enough money to live stream on it yet. So I'll have to go back and try and find out how I do that. I've also been playing with TikTok. Now, I'm not a fan of TikTok, and that'll probably explain why, if you're looking for me under Voice of Freedom, you won't find it, because that's not what it's called, and I yet not been able to figure out how to change the channel. But you'll find me under Bay Brecky, and BAY Brecky. Long story, but
Yeah.
you'll see some.
I think I know the
see
links to that story.
Yeah, you'll see some little short videos of Josie there that I made when I figured out what auto edit does.
We're slowly educating him, guys. Slowly he's getting educated. Mind you, I know nothing about TikTok either.
Now, Peg's got an interesting question. She wonders if the Q stuff's going to start up again soon. I would say the Q stuff is running wildly right now, Peg. Wildly. keep a very close eye on what's going to happen surrounding Trump and all these court cases. Keep a weather eye out if you happen to be in Sydney for the Harbour Bridge or the Opera House blowing up. I did see an interesting meme that was going to be a punishment from Mossad, meaning Israel punishing Australia for its current stance. I'm not sure what our current stance is, other than, telling them to get out, but supporting them in every other way. Yeah. So anyway, it'll be interesting. The court cases will go away. I agree, Crunch. All the court cases will go. But Vince does raise that point that he's already been found guilty. It's just a sentencing hearing on the 26th, and the judge can choose to walk away from that, I suppose. Will he?
Yeah, there's still a private one. There is still one other private one with Fannie Willis in her county or her state, where they're taking Trump to court via the state level, not the federal level. So all the federal level shit's gone, right? DOJ are basically running, right? They're burning their papers, they're hiding, they're doing whatever they have to do to try and protect their little burnt asses,
100%.
Right?
They don't want him finding out.
Them. But there is still a couple of others that are floating around. It will be interesting to see what happens on those on a minor vote. Are they going to have a major effect on the presidency? No, not at all. He's going to come in there and do his stuff, right? So I'm happy because the world spoke and we gained another 4 years, as far as I'm concerned. Another 4 years to fight.
I'm very excited to see Elon Musk in the role of cleaning up government wastage.
Yeah.
Very excited to see what will come. And then I think it's wastage and innovation, isn't it? So he's going to find innovative ways to cut the waste.
Elon's a very interesting character. As Trump said, they need to support and protect their very, very intelligent people, because there's not a lot of them. So,
that's true. Ain't that the truth?
All right.
All right. Well, you go. Have you got big plans for the weekend?
Not for this weekend so much. I am looking at putting some extra solar onto the house. Not that I can. I'm having to sell some of my crypto to do it, but it's come to the point here that electricity in South Australia is so goddamn expensive that I need to put a battery in to try and just limit the amount I'm paying the government. So, when you're running IT all the time, my average kilowatt usage is around 24 to 28 kilowatts per day I use. So I'm having to try and put a rather big system in that. So trying to get that done before the important thing, which is when you all get to come and meet us at a camp out at the end of this month.
Looking forward to that. In fact, I won't be driving down, so I'm very sorry for that. However, I will be flying down, which reminds me I've got to contact somebody who said they were going to help me out a bit with that, because it looks like I'm going to need their help. But yeah,
I heard we can throw you on a horse float, mate. I heard that there's a horse float heading that way. So
it's funny you should mention horse floats. I'm going to be in a float. Well, I'll be in and out of a horse float on Monday. There are some new animals coming to the property, and we're going to pick them up on Monday. You will most definitely get a bit of a look at them. They would be, I suppose, just as cute as Josie, but a little bit bigger. So horse float required, and another trailer, which we're bringing a shed back on, as far as I believe. Somebody suggested I would be the one pulling the shed apart, and I said, "Oh, really?" All right.
Well, getting back to that day that's coming up at the weekend shortly. Between that weekend and the next weekend, which is the 32 muster, this is all about groups joining together and supporting each other, right? But between that time, the chauffeur...
That's December the 2nd to December the 6th.
Yes. right, between that time, the chauffeur, being moi, and Carl, are going to be looking for places to come and tour and speak and visit. So if you want us to come and do something, a little event at your place or whatever. I'm throwing Carl under the bus here. He doesn't know. He's a celebrity. I'm just a chauffeur, right? So, but if you're looking for anywhere where, send a thing through to Carl or myself, and we'll see what we can arrange.
So
okay?
we've got to get from around Echuca to Mount Gambier on the 6th. Got to be there by the afternoon of the 6th. There's something happening in the evening. So that would mean we could go along the Murray, places like Rochester and Swan Hill and Rushworth. That's not really on the river. Mildura, Oyen. Or we could come down and come back down through Bendigo, Ballarat, maybe over to Bacchus Marsh and catch up with the girls with Truth Seeker TV, and then down into Warrnambool, Hamilton, Horsham, that sort of area, and across to Mount Gambier. Then Casterton, Portland. I've got some great friends down near Portland. We can call in and see events as long as you don't mind horses. And so. Tell us where you'd like us to go. Not the eastern side of Victoria. Got plans for the eastern side of Victoria when this hand comes good again. And that hopefully will be just after Christmas. I'll be able to get in the bus and disappear, provided it's not pissing rain here and I can't get the bus bogged trying to get it out. And there's a half a possibility of that, but we'll see how it all goes. Very excited to see what the future holds. And I'm looking forward to introducing Josie to you because she'll be coming with me.
Well, that raises a question. How do you go with that when you're going cross state borders? How does that figure?
I'm covered under a carer's license, but to be honest, I haven't asked about going interstate. I better do that before I go. It might be better to leave her here at the end of the day. Because of the disability I'm suffering, she has basically got two dads and a mum. So she spends her day with me. She gets, loving and toileting and kissing and cuddling and needles from me. But when it comes to feeding her, Uncle Dwayne or Auntie Elizabeth are the feeders, because the way that she curls up in the pouch, or you get her on your legs, you basically need two hands to get the teat into her mouth and keep it all working. And occasionally, because she's only little and we're offering stuff to her that she's not been experiencing ever before in her life, she's not immediately walking up and taking the teat. So she's a slow drinker. She'll play with her food. In fact, that photo, if I bring it up again, this photo of her she's in a food coma, right? She's just had about 35 ml of milk, and it's taken about an hour, and you've got to keep shaking the bottle and moving it in and out. Otherwise, her little eyes basically just go, "Oh, it's really good." Go back to sleep. Like a baby. So that will only go on for the next little while, maybe another 3 or 4 months. But today I was around at the wildlife carers picking up some supplies and putting needles in her, and this is the place. I have taken some video. I'll show you, but this is the house you walk into, and there are 7 Eastern Grey Joeys of varying size, one about her size, and then they go up to about nearly 3 feet in height, and they're still just babies. But they, when you hold the bottle out, will simply hop up to you and take it immediately. I'm looking forward to that day. That'll make life a lot easier. But if it works out that taking her across state borders might be a problem, then I won't. She has an extra mum and a dad here who can look after her when needs be, because she will be more like a dog. She'll be acclimatized and used to all of us, and they do sort of fixate on you a little bit. Like right now, for instance, when we take her out, we call it at foot. She doesn't get too far away from me. if I step away from her, she will come to me and basically stand on my feet. This is what she would be doing if Mum had her out of the pouch, and they call it a little one, or Joey at foot, for that reason, because they stay at their feet. When she gets a little more adventurous, and we're probably looking at 3 to 6 months away yet, she'll not fixate so much at foot and hop around a bit, but with a call of her name, she will come straight back. Much more attentive than most of the dogs I've ever had in my life, if I'm honest. So, but she'll also have that with Dwayne, and she'll have that with Elizabeth. So we don't want her to be a pet. That's not what this is about. We have 134 acres here she can run around on, and there are plenty other wallabies that she can make friends with. So this is what we hope will be, it will be her forever home, but, she'll be I suppose, domesticated, because that's the way it's had to be. That's the way we've had to bring her up.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Okay.
Sadly.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, but at least, it shows the kindness, it shows the life, and it is a beautiful place where she's at. So having that ability to roam around there is brilliant for her. So
yeah, and she's safe as long as she doesn't, get hit by a stray shot from the army base over the road. She won't get shot at here by anything. We've got.
I like that.
Well,
so you guys are living around stray shots from the army base. Good one. That sounds great.
Well, mate, I don't know. Have you seen some of the privates that have joined the Defence Forces? You really think they can shoot straight? I listened to them. I listened to them the other morning, 7:30, right on the knot of 7:30. Multiple caliber weapons just opened up, bang, and boom, bang, bang, for about 10 minutes, and then everybody went home. The war was won. I thought it was a 21-gun salute for Donald Trump by a bunch of dyslexic defense people who couldn't count. Made absolutely no sense. And then it did. Hopefully it was a firing squad. Multiple firing squads.
Well, there's at least 6 tills. There's at least 6 tills that need to be fired out of their position in Parliament, that's for sure. But anyway, we should probably wrap this up, Carl. We've been going for a while. Now, you and I get together, we could talk for way longer, so we better not. But please, once again, support us. Start supporting a collaborative group of media people. We have memberships that are available on VOF HQ at as little as $1.25 a week. Just thought I'd slip that in because I haven't done any promos for a while. Right. Yeah, follow us on Facebook. Follow us on the new X channel, which will become available to you soon. Don't forget VOF HQ at YouTube, and also freedomfbn.media online in there as well. I put the link up in the chat if you want it. So with that, the only other thing that we could then, perhaps we should start follow the wrist breaking episodes of Carl. No, sorry, just kidding. I
nearly re-broke it the other night. I picked up a box up at the letterbox to drop it for somebody, and it was a box of toilet paper. And how hard could that be? Well, I've not seen or felt toilet paper that heavy since I was having a crap in East Germany in 1971, and that was like wiping your ass with pumpernickel bread. It was just sandpaper, very unpleasant. But this very large box, and balanced it on the arm trying to get it in because I can't hold anything, so I anyway, don't do that, dickhead, because you're going to run out of Comfrey oil. And
the first couple of weeks, you need to
bigger
behave
mouth
yourself.
of sharper teeth, I'll never open that. So, all right, mate.
All right, I'm going to do
you know what we do at this time.
Yeah, and all I've got to do, and it is not fast because I'm still upset because of what.
Oh wow, it's like he's taking drugs, isn't it? A lot of them. All right, folks. You have a great night. I'll be off to give this little one a feed in another. I better go and do it right about now. And we will probably have a bit of a chat over the weekend. I will upload some stuff to the fbnmedia.online site, so please go over to YouTube and join it there. And make sure you like and subscribe to it, please. We want to be able to do lives on there, but we can only do it if there are 1,000 subscribers. And I didn't look, but I think there's about 500, might not be that many, might be 300 and something. So if you could, like and subscribe. There's more coming up on there too, including some Ainsley stuff real soon. So have yourself a great weekend. If you are out and about, you know what to avoid, don't you? Dickheads on the road, they are everywhere.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!